the Academy Award nominees for Best Documentary Short of the Year 2020. A Love Song for Latasha is the first one. I assume this one is going to win, not to jinx it, but because it's the rare short film to get commercial distribution, it's made for and thus available on Netflix. Well, I should mention, all the Oscar-nominated shorts for a decade and a half have been getting commercial distribution by virtue of shorts at the TV, sending them to theaters in packages. You know, the Oscar-nominated animated shorts as one, the documentary shorts another, live-action shorts as a third. However, yeah, Love Song for Latasha, that's very rare short to get commercial distribution completely on its own. It's on Netflix for anyone who just wants to watch that, but it's not just because of its mass distribution that I expect it to win. It's because it's hands down the best. Wow. What a heartbreaking little movie. Many of us know about the circumstances leading up to the LA riots. I'm old enough to remember when they happened, not old enough to have understood everything going on when they happened, but I've since learned plenty, and I knew all about Latasha Harlins, the lesser unknown victim than Rodney King, but certainly the one who suffered more and deserved it less. Wow, but now it's not just about the injustice. You actually get to find out more about her as a person. This is made by her best friend. Find out what sort of person Latasha was. Raised by her grandmother after her own mother was murdered when Latasha was small. But she really wanted to leave the world a better place for those around her, those growing up in the slums like she was. She and her best friend had plans to both go to law school and actually fight but to make the world a fairer place. But although I knew Soon Ja-do, the Korean store owner, shot Latasha in the back of the head. So as Latasha was walking away, over falsely believing that Latasha was stealing, a bottle of orange juice, and because yes, a $2 bottle of orange juice is worth killing someone over. Even if she had been trying to steal it, which she wasn't, but I didn't know all the circumstances. That Latasha had the $2 in her hand. Other witnesses and the surveillance camera showed that, but they didn't mind to pay for the orange juice. But also, after Soon Ja-do physically assaulted Latasha, get the orange juice back, assuming she's going to steal and refusing to listen when Latasha showed her the money, but just to get her off, Latasha punched Soon Ja, and then Soon Ja, wanting at the last word in the fight that she herself had started for no reason, and she threw a chair at Latasha. Latasha, the 15-year-old, still trying to be the bigger person. She walked out, but then Soon Ja shot her in the back of the head, killed her. Let's be clear to all of you who want to be macho vigilantes, Death Wish style. You are not allowed to kill someone for stealing property, no matter how conservative state you're living in. Human life is considered more valuable than property. There are people who have gone to jail for killing others for trying to steal valuable things from them. To say the least, a $2 bottle of orange juice wouldn't qualify, or $1.79. Then not to mention Natasha was not trying to steal. On top of that, she was walking away after she was the one assaulted. Luckily, the jury got that one right. They found Soonja guilty of voluntary manslaughter, recommended she get the maximum 16 years in prison for that. But the judge, Joyce Carlin, suspended that sentence, gave Latasha a smaller sentence than Latasha had gotten for give Soonja a smaller sentence than she'd given a man for kicking a dog. Not killing, just kicking a dog. Only weeks before that. And she stood by her decision when I just called her out on it. This Joyce Marlin woman said, oh, a judge can't let herself be governed by political correctness. You can look at it up, but those weren't exact words, but same sentiment. She absolutely did use the exact words political correctness. And she got mad when the LA Times endorsed her opponent in her next election. She actually wrote an op-ed complaining because, yes, there's nothing racists who are affluent hate getting called out on more than the fact that they are racist. That's the real hate speech. Joyce Carlin faced no repercussions whatsoever for her actions. An attempt to recall her narrowly failed, and she happily retired. They got to be mayor of Manhattan Beach. Won't be surprised an area that rich in America, that rich pretty much translates to that white probably thought it was understandable she was sympathetic with someone being afraid of a black person. Soon Jadu did at least get some karma catching up to her. Her store never reopened, and it got burned down in the LA riots. I hope it was uninsured, I really do. But you know what? Fuck you, Soon Jadu, and fuck you, Joyce Carlin. But the movie, even though it gives their names, isn't about them. It's about the person for whom the phrase "say her name" actually started, Latasha Harlins. Her best friend, such a touching love letter to her with some old home movie footage, some poetry Latasha wrote, yearbook photos, and just her BFFs reminiscing. Of course, Latasha never even got to learn the phrase BFF because she was killed long before then. Oh, such a heartbreaking masterpiece, and so appropriate. I watched it the day before the George Floyd verdict came out. The judge, in that case, better not suspend Derek Chauvin's sentences. But anyway, the second movie, Do Not Split, it's about riots in Hong Kong, and actually bored me. I didn't finish this one. I've realized all the time I've seen footages of race riots in America. Footage of riots in general doesn't engage me. I have to know a bit about what the whole purpose is, and some throwaway material about human rights protesting didn't get me interested. I forwarded through most of Do Not Split. Then Hunger Ward, about the human rights crises in Yemen, but just a bunch of footage. I mean, sad what's happening to all these children who have been victimized by bombs and whatnot, but I don't know, for me, a documentary needs a narrative. Those of you who look at my written blog saw me recently do a review of Hoop Dreams from 1994 and how that pretty much forever changed documentaries. It wasn't just a bunch of footage with some talking head briefly saying what's about, but no, it actually compiled together all sorts of different things and told a thorough narrative. So yeah, Do Not Split and Hunger Ward were missing that. Colette was the next movie, and that one had an interesting premise, somewhat. An old lady and I guess her granddaughter go back to Germany for the first time since the elderly lady was in a concentration camp. She specifically wants to go to the spot where her brother was killed. Trying to fight the Nazis. But, of course, the Holocaust, in the opinions of many, understandably, the worst atrocity in human history. But I feel like I've seen this before, and all sorts of fiction and documentary work. Someone, Holocaust survivor, going back to that location and confronting the ghosts of the past. Heck, not sound insensitive. I've seen it done better on an episode of The Twilight Zone, and I realize, Death's Head Revisited, and I realize that wasn't about actual Holocaust survivors, but doesn't mean it wasn't written by or starring people who were in it. And sorry, important, powerful subject matter does not a good movie make. And it just wasn't interesting. Too by the numbers. I'm sorry, feel guilty saying that. But then the last movie was great. Concerto is a Conversation. It's also about a grandparent and adult grandchild, specifically an elderly black man who started out in, sort of neighborhood Latasha Harless grew up in. Unlike her, he at least lived to be a few years older. Well, more than that, because once he became a legal adult, he moved away somewhere better, and he's facing so much discrimination, even in the more liberal area. He had to really persevere and try not showing his face to even get business loans, but eventually became a successful owner of a dry cleaning business, and then thus was not to make jokes. Well, it's a lighthearted film. I say kind of George Jefferson style. but yeah, as such, he was able not to take the joke too further, but just like George was thus able to find a college education for Lionel, his son could become an electrical engineer. The grandfather in this movie is able to provide well thanks to dry cleaning business for his children, who his son who's talked about anyway, and then that son and his wife, the old man's daughter-in-law, were able to provide music education for their own son, who has become a quite successful concert pianist and scored a lot of movies, including Green Book. So it was great seeing the grandfather and grandson interacting, finding out their very fascinating story. Because it's not just about someone who dealt with racism and then overcame as best as he could. No, we see the multiple generations, how his grandson got to have this awesome, exciting career. We even see footage of Green Book winning the Academy Award for Best Picture. Of course, many feel it didn't deserve that, but that's a topic for another time. I love Green Book, even if it wasn't my favorite movie of that year, so bravo that grandson getting to score that. Anyway, so this year, the animated shorts really let me down. Live action movies really blew me away. Well, the animated movies, except for If Anything Happens, I Love You, pretty much let me down. The live action ones really blew me away, and the documentaries were a mixed bag. 3 forgettable ones plus 2 outstanding ones. Anyway, for further thoughts on all sorts of titles, you can go to my written blog, autisticartcritic.com. Also, please follow us on Facebook, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. Thank you.